Hi, good morning guys. How are you all doing? This video is for all the landlords and the tenants. I want you to watch this video to the end. No dips. Please do not skip any part of the video because all of them are so important. Now today let's talk about notice of rent increment. This has been on my mind for so long. And I just remember that today is 29th. And by 3 days time we'll be in January. And you all know that in January most of us tenants, our rents will be due. Now, have your landlord served you with a notice of increment? If he has not, lucky you. You are lucky because he can no longer serve you with a notice of increment if your rent is going to be due on January. Today on Legal Topics with Della, I will be talking on notice of rent increment. Notice of rent increment is that document the landlord gives to you telling you that we've reviewed the whole thing, we've reviewed your house rent and we have decided to add small money to your house rent. That is what is called notice of increment. That letter that the lawyer will serve you telling you that your rent has been increased is what we call in law notice of rent increment. Now, before your landlord serves you notice of rent increment, the law says there are certain things he must do. The landlord cannot serve you notice of rent increment when your rent is remaining just, you want to pay him and he will just give you a letter telling you, increase the money, I've increased your rent. No. The landlord cannot come and tell you with his mouth and say, I've increased your rent. No. The law says, The landlord cannot come and give you notice of rent increment 1 month before your rent expires. The law says no. The landlord has every right to increase his rent, but the law says you must do this. And these are the things that the law laid down that you must do. 1, the notice must be served 3 months before the expiration of your current rent or 6 months before the expiration of your current rent. He must serve you in writing. He must address the letter to you properly. Your name, address, and every information, tiny details, must be in that letter. When you accept that letter, you have a right to negotiate. If the landlord says 20,000 naira is the new rent, you can negotiate. You can write a letter to him telling him that that rent is too high or you cannot pay this, that, and that. Dear tenant, you cannot be caught unawares. Before the landlord ejects you or serves you with a notice to quit because you refuse to pay rent on the ground or that you refused him increasing his rent, he will make sure that he served you a notice of increment on time and that he gives you time to negotiate. Nobody is forcing the landlord on the tenant or forcing the tenant on the landlord. The landlord has the right to eject you, but he does not have the right to increase rent arbitrarily. So if he does not serve you with a notice of increment and he decides to tell you immediately you want to pay that your rent is no longer the old rent, do not panic. Quietly give him his money or ask for his account number and transfer the money. Leave him alone. So this morning, for all the landlords that want to increase their rent, please come close. Make sure that you serve your tenant with a notice of increment 3 months or 6 months before the expiration of his current rent. And you, the tenant, immediately you're served with a notice of increment, write your own letter, address it to the landlord, and negotiate the rent. Now, if at the end of the day, the rent is too high, what you will do is to approach the rent tribunal and ask them to vary that rent or ask them to review the rent and know if it suits the house. So I will end this video here, but this is, in summary, this is what I am saying. I am saying that your landlord cannot increase your rent arbitrarily. Before he increases your rent, he must serve you a notice of increment 3 months before the expiration of your current rent. If he did not do that, he can no longer come and tell you to pay new rent or that he has increased his rent when your rent has become due. and he did not place your notice, the law will frown at it. I hope you get something from this video. Good morning, guys.